It's the second Muppet movie made, The Great Muppet Caper, and full disclosure, this is my personal favorite Muppet movie. I'm not even saying it's the best, it's just my personal favorite. This was probably the one I watched the most as a little kid, and to a lot of people it's seen as very average, and I can't act like I don't get that. Unlike a lot of other Muppet movies like the first one, or Muppets Take Manhattan, or Christmas Carol, there's not a ton of that sentimental side in this one. Yeah, there is a little bit, but it always feels like whenever it's getting a little too sentimental, it has to balance out with a joke, and honestly, I found the film a little bit more fun because of that. This one has more of a film noir jewel thief vibe, and I think because we do associate so much of the Muppets' identity to being so magical and whimsical and everything, I like there's a film that takes a little bit of a break from it, and honestly, it's pretty good at it. This time around, it's not about the Muppets meeting, it's more about them working at a newspaper that they're immediately fired from, but out of nowhere, they want to go after this jewel thief in England because, I don't know, it kind of feels like the right thing to do, and it just gets the movie going. Yeah, as always, there's a lot of fourth wall breaking in this. Maybe a little too much, but we'll get to that in a minute. They make their way to England, where Kermit meets Miss Piggy again. Yeah, this is, I guess, not another origin story, it's just another story. And he confuses her for Lady Holiday, the woman that had her jewels stolen, and seeing how she instantly falls in love with him, she decides to go along with it. But things get complicated when the actual jewel thief, played by Charles Grodin, it turns out is in love with Miss Piggy as well, but they need someone to take the fall for all their thievery, and Miss Piggy seems like the perfect candidate. Will they prove her innocence while also catching the real thieves red-handed?
What color are their hands now?
Yeah, there's still a fair amount of corny jokes like that. But yes, we've come to expect that kind of humor, as well as really good humor too. Smart, well thought out dialogue and visual jokes, and again, some really impressive technical achievements. Out of all the Muppet movies, this is probably the one I'm the most impressed by, just on a technical level. Look at them riding these bicycles. Yeah, sometimes it's close up and, you know, they gotta get their hands in there, moving their mouths and everything, but other times I'm kind of watching it like, holy smokes, how long did it take them to put that together? The Miss Piggy song with the water aerobics, good God. Just having this puppet swim underwater, or if it is a puppet, or sometimes a person in a suit, I don't know, that would have been impressive enough, but they have little water bubbles coming out of her nose. They didn't need to do that, but that really adds a lot, and it's really funny. How terrified would you be if you had to do a dive off of this huge platform with sparks and fireworks and water and everything, and not only that, you have to do it in a Miss Piggy suit. If this was your last stunt, how would you like your obituary to read, "You died in a Miss Piggy suit"? That is dedication. The tap dancing scene is amazing. Just this little bit where they're climbing the side of the wall is amazing. Just there's so many technical achievements I am just blown away by, especially in 1981 when this was made. But thankfully that's not the only thing that's impressive about it. I say there's three things that really gravitate the most to me when I think of this film. One is the songs, which, yes, aren't as well known as, say, Rainbow Connection and some other movies, but some of them really are earworms. Every single time I hear Happiness Hotel, it is in my head the rest of the day. I love the opening song where they're just singing about what a good movie you're about to see. You should be so excited. This is going to be so fun. That is just so genuine and upbeat, it's impossible not to enjoy. Even when the songs are a little corny and maybe a little too old school for me, they still sound really, really nice. Even when they both are and aren't supposed to. I love they dub Charles Grodin's voice, they even call it out, but they still let Kermit sing with his awkward, weak voice, which he has a really nice voice, obviously, but he has to sing it in character, and when he has to sing opera, it just sounds so funny hearing these entirely different voices sing against each other. Now, again, I'm not going to pretend this style is objectively better than, say, the Muppet movie, where there really is this dreamlike quality and the celebration of creativity and imagination and so forth. But yes, I am a sucker for the film noir style. While I'm not going to say this film is dripping in it, there are a lot of shots that reflect that. I say it's like a mix between film noir and a movie like His Girl Friday. Something about reporters trying to get the scoop, wearing fedora hats, and some sharp shadows and fun angles. I don't know, this is the only Muppet movie that really kind of looks like this. It's not amazing or anything, it's just a style that really connects with me more than I say the other movies do. third, and probably the biggest for me, is that it might be the most humorously cynical. Now, that's not to say this is a cynical movie. I can't say that. The Muppets are still upbeat, very positive. I love the opening where they're talking over the credits and Fozzie says, "Does anybody even read these?" And Kermit goes, "Oh yeah, sure, they all have families." That's such a sweet thing to say, but even the way that starts with Fozzie saying, "Does anybody ever read these?" Like, that's just a little bit of cynicism you wouldn't usually get all the time from the Muppets. And it balances out really well. And I think that makes the humor especially funny. This is the Muppet movie where I laugh the most consistently. It just has the most jokes that work. But yes, I'll totally acknowledge, not every joke works. This is probably the one where they abuse the fourth wall jokes the most, and while a lot of them do work and are still really funny, you could trim out maybe 3 or 4 of them. It does go those few steps too many. But I think because this world does tap a lot more into the film noir style and the jewel thief style and tabloid reporter style and mix it in with a lot of that British flair, both the creative comedy but also that sort of snobby pompousness, it gives the film a little bit of a comedic edge. Some jokes do go on too long, like there's one where John Cleese and the lady from Fawlty Towers, they're having a conversation, and the idea is it's supposed to be really boring and they just keep going with it, and I don't know, at some point I just kind of gave into the Stockholm, and I just loved listening to these two talk about nothing. And when he finds Kermit and Piggy hiding in the closet, the fact that he can't confront them. He has like a poker from the fireplace, like ready to attack, but when he sees them, he's like, "Oh, I should recommend a nice place for them to go." That is so British. This film just feels very distinctly British. It's a mixture of styles on a visual level, a technical level, and a comedic level that all just meshes perfectly for me. There's so many scenes that don't need to exist and you could cut out and not miss anything, but I just love that they're there for that very reason. Peter Falk coming in, just hijacking the movie out of nowhere, just cracks me up. And by God, this has to be a meme, right?
You know, it's amazing. You are 100% wrong. I mean, nothing you've said has been right.
There's so many moments in this movie where I just go, what is going on right now? And I just enjoy it. I love giving myself to it. I love not knowing necessarily what's going to happen next. Yes, there is a story that moves forward and has a beginning, middle, and end and everything, but because they break the fourth wall so much, it does leave the spontaneity that keeps the humor kind of fresh to me, even when they combine it with jokes we've heard a million times. I feel like a lot of my enjoyment can be summed up in Charles Grodin's performance in this. He is just selling as much as possible that he is in love with this pig. It's the perfect amount of committing to a point where you're winking to the camera, but not too hard. It still sticks to the core of the humor, and maybe that's why I really, really enjoy it and why it makes me laugh so much. There's such a dedication to what it is, it has fun with it, and it's good at it. So yeah, I know for most people it's either going to be the Muppet movie or the Muppet Christmas Carol that's going to be their favorite, and I understand that, it makes sense, but this is the one I've watched the most, it's the one I quote the most. I just have a great time watching it. But like I said, that's just me. What are your thoughts on it? Because honestly, I can't always get a read on this movie. I can't tell if people really get into it, or if they really do want the magical, more enchanting ones, or if they like the fact that this one is a little more different, and it is just going more for the laughs, and that it commits pretty hard to that, but also still in a creative way. Let me know what you think if you haven't seen it yet. Feel like the Muppets being tossed around in like half of this film, and drop on by.